uh, that we are joined by the cast and crew of the closing film Featherweight. Um, we're joined by none other than the director of the movie, Mr. Robert Colney. He's an Emmy award-winning director, writer, and cinematographer, and his this is his debut film as a director, if I'm right. Yeah, and he has to his credit the Netflix series Procession, released in 2021. You are also the professor at the School of Visual Arts in New York City. Welcome to IFI and welcome to this interaction.
Thank you so much.
We have with us Mr. James Madio, the leading actor in the movie, and he's also from New York City, and he has also worked with Steven Spielberg. Yeah, welcome to IFI and welcome to this interaction.
Thank you for having me.
We are also joined by Miss Bennett Elliott, the producer of the movie. Yeah, and Stephen Loft, the writer and co-producer of the movie. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, Ms.
Thank you.
Bennett. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, Regarding the film, it's a biographical sports drama set in the mid 1960s. The movie presents a gripping chapter in the true life story of an Italian American boxer, Willie Pep, and who is a aging boxer, and the movie captures the struggles that he has to encounter both personally and professionally, and this narrative painstakingly researched narrative, and it is a true portrait of the discontents and disenchantment of the 20th century American masculinity, fame, and self-perception. uh, Before we move further, let's have the trailer of the movie, please.
Always had a thing for golden clothes. A lot of money on wardrobes. Damn, I look like one too. This suit. This suit really paid off. Yeah, looking sharp. What do you think? Yeah, nothing? You give me nothing? Nothing? You get that? You keep this camera off my way.
I guess I can't sell you. Take a picture. It'll last longer.
Hey, Herman, see, this was a gift. A good gift. Bob Hope. You look at that? He gave me this. He came to all my fights. This is engraved. It says, "For the champ, you're always a pleasure to watch."
You'd expect better from Bob.
She's cute. That's why I keep her around. Are you almost ready?
I'm almost ready.
It's like,
Chelsea. Um, um, I would like to have the director of the movie to have your opening remarks. You can share your experiences on making of this film, and your thoughts on being in IFI, and this is the Asia premiere of this film, and your plans about how you're going to take this movie further in festivals across the world. You can share your thoughts on those. Yeah, starting with you, please.
Sure. Um, yeah. Okay. Yes, thank you. We're very proud to be showing the film at IFI, such a prestigious film festival in its 54th year. And for this to be our Asian premiere is incredibly meaningful to us. So we thank the film festival. Um, this movie was a labor of love. It took many years to come together. Our star, James Madio, um, originated the character and the project, and our writer, Steve Loff, took that baton and spent years developing it and researching it. This is the story of a real person who led an incredible life, the most winning boxer in the history of the sport, with 241 fights. And so we put a lot of dedication and sweat equity and blood and dreams into this project. It's something that we that we dedicated ourselves to completely as an independent film. Um, and we were privileged to have Indian um, executive producers with Golden Ratio, and we're just extremely excited to be at such a prestigious film festival, and to interact with cinema on an international stage is the reason to make something, to present something in front of an audience and to be in conversation and in dialogue in the language of cinema, which is something that is international. It's very meaningful to us.
Thank you, Mr. Colney. We are also joined by one of the co-producers of the film, Mr. Abhayanand Singh. Yeah, please join. He's the founder of Golden Ratio Films. Yeah. Now I request Mr. Madio to share your views on and how it has been, how fun, how was it being in the set of this film and your experiences as being the leading actor in the
Thank
film?
you.
Yeah.
You guys hear me? Yeah, you can. Oh, great. Well, it's to come this far and to tell Willie's story and to be on the stage with these remarkable filmmakers and friends. It's unimaginable for an actor who's been doing this for many years to step into a boxing ring with this project, like Robert said, a labor of love. I've been trying to get this movie made for quite some time. I don't want to go into detail of how much time, uh, but making films is a miracle. Making independent films is even a bigger miracle. So for us to get this done and to be here on this scale, and for me to transform into Willie and be Willie, that was years and years of dedication mentally, thinking that I was Willie. I trained as much as I was able to train. I did as much research as I could possibly research. I interacted with our writer and our producer and director for any information. Interact with the family as well, Willie Pep's family members who are alive, and we shot it in Hartford, Connecticut, where Willie is from, and he's a local hero there. So he's there. Well, Steve always says it. He's their Rocky Balboa of Philadelphia. Willie Pep is is Hartford. That's their hometown hero. So shooting it in his hometown and getting the support of Hartford really helped us. I know there's probably filmmakers out there and listening right now. And I think everybody up here would agree that filming in Connecticut was a blessing as well. And yeah, I mean, just excited to be here and excited that I get this opportunity.
Thank you, Matthew. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I would request the producers of the movie to share your thoughts, starting with Bennett, please.
Yeah,
Mm.
I echo everything that Rob and James say. We're so grateful to be here and so happy to be showing the film on such a large scale. And also to what James is saying about filming in Hartford, Connecticut, I think that being in the place that this main character is from, like his spirit was just with us every step of the way. You can't walk 10 feet in Connecticut without running into someone that has a story about meeting Willie Pep or growing up watching him fight. So I think that was really incredible.
Yeah, Steve, please.
First off, I want to say I'm honored to be here and thank you to Efi and to Golden Ratio Films. By you and your team. Thank you for bringing us here. I love Goa. I love India. I don't want to leave, but my wife will kill me. So I have to go back to New York. But no, thank you for having us. This film has been a labor of love. I've worked on it for a long time. And it's a dream come true to be closing this festival. We're very honored. And yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Singh,
Thank you.
please.
First of all, thanks a lot for coming. Uh, we produce films in India primarily, but there are times when we've done movies in Hollywood, and this is our third such movie. Uh, this movie actually originated from an Indian actor called Abhay Deval. he introduced us to them, and that's how we decided to participate in this movie. We had our own journey because we were just about to begin our shoot, and then COVID happened, and so everything has to be pushed, and we all waited for long 2 years before we could resume shooting. But it's been such a wonderful wait. The film premiered at Venice, and ever since then, it's been getting great reviews. I have personally not watched it, so I'm looking forward to watching my own movie tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Now the floor is open for questions. Yeah, please.
Firstly, congratulations on the movie. My question to the director is, when you make a movie based on the true story, you have a lot of obligation to stick to the truth and reality. But at the same time, you don't want to keep it a very plain account or a document. You have to add a lot of cinema value to it. So how challenging was it to add that cinema value so that even the truth is not diluted? And my question to actor is, of course, it is a lot of labor that you have done. It demands a lot of physical practice. Like you've said, you poured in blood and sweat into it. I'd like to know more on your preparation. How did you gear up to the role? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Anytime that you're portraying a real character, you do have a responsibility to be honest to them, to do them justice, but also not to sugarcoat it, not to present it just as a fairy tale version of their reality, because this would be disrespectful as well. So what we present is a warts and all portrait of this real character, a flawed character, someone who exists in sort of the gray area between morality and immorality. And this is honest and true. And I feel that we did justice to Willie Pep and to his story. And in terms of being able to keep it real, this was a task that we took great care in doing, even going as far as to shoot in his hometown, to film outside of his actual home. The boxing club is a club that he really fought in. A lot of the characters that appear in the film as actors are people that knew him in real life. So there's this dance between fact and fiction, reality and cinema. Ultimately, we're creating cinema. We're weaving a tapestry that should be entertaining, informative, and carry this bit of magic, right? To watch something that is purely reality, this would be like watching the news. But to engage in the act of cinema, this is a higher calling and a grander art form. So we were delighted to be able to bring Willie's story in that form.
As far as my training and my physicality and getting into the mental state of Willie, because I knew I was in some way, shape, or form born to play Willie, and I always thought that this could be a great vehicle for me. I think height wise and look wise, we were very, very similar. Come from almost the same area, same sort of background, and kind of the same upbringing, just fighting on the street. So I really, really felt that I could jump into Willie's shoes. As far as the training, I was always in decent shape, and I always enjoyed boxing. I'm a boxing fan, and I did boxing workouts for quite some time. But when it kind of got to the real fighting, when you think you're a boxer, when you're playing a boxer, until you're in there and you're doing it and you're getting hit by actual professional boxers, you realize that you are just an actor. But I enjoyed it. I took it as a challenge. I exercised and trained every day with the speed bag and the jump rope and the road work. Watching a lot of footage of Willie and how special he was inside that ring. Spoke to a lot of boxers. We had a slew of fighters throughout the years. Try to get me to that place physically. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it so much that when I went back home to my wife, I was just flurrying punches at her, and she was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I can't, because Willie is just always flurrying. Just when he talks like that. So even when I got home after shooting, it was around Thanksgiving when we wrapped, and I just gone home, and I remember like giving her a hug and a kiss, and a few seconds later, and she was like, "No, you can't do that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah." So I had to remove myself from him to some capacity, but playing Willie was a dream job for me, and when you're playing real uh, uh, people and a local hero, and not only a local hero, an incredibly gifted fighter. Uh, there's a lot of weight on that with family members and friends and people know him. So we took great responsibility, like Robert had mentioned, in making sure that we were accurately and correctly portraying Willie.
Any other questions, please? Yeah, yeah, please.
Yes, James said that he had a fascination for boxing, but why did you choose boxing?
Yeah, why did I choose boxing? I've been fascinated by boxing for a long time. Before this project, I was working on a documentary in Bulgaria about the great Soviet fighter Serafim Todorov, who fought in 3 Olympic Games. And I spent 5 years traveling between the United States and Bulgaria, and later Germany, filming with him. And in this process of creating the documentary, I became enamored with the art of boxing, the sweet science, as they call it. I would spend a lot of time in boxing gyms, and I became acquainted with the textures and smells of this place, the characters, not just the fighters, but the managers and the trainers. And there's sort of a through line to this layer of civilization. There's a international language, an unspoken language of the fighter, right? Because it's a job. You have to go to work every day, and your work just happens to be punching someone else in the face and being punched in the face yourself. And so it's quite sad in many ways and quite human, but also it's something that has all of this glory attached to it if you're able to ascend to the higher echelons of the sport. And so when I read Steve's script and learned about the character of Willie Pep, someone who fought 241 fights, an impossible amount of fights, and who was the world champion twice over, and yet with all of this glory, our story finds him in the mid 1960s, shortly after retirement, losing money, depressed, on his fourth of 7 marriages, with a terrible relationship with his children. And you see this, and it's a portrait of humanity. And so it's this sort of duality between the intrigue of the sports drama and the reality of the human drama that drove me towards the story and fascinated me enough to want to take hold of this.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, you are primarily you have been primarily a director of photography, and you have won great accolades for your film procession. And in this film, you are the director. So how has been the shift? I mean, I have read that film is the auteur's, the director's own art. So do you think that there's a kind of promotion in terms of from a director of photography to the director of the film? Is there an elevation, or how has the shift been?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think film intrinsically is the most collaborative medium of art. You normally, if you're a painter or a poet, you work solipsistically in isolation. But if you're making a film, you cannot do it on your own. And so, being the director, it is another job. It's an important job because you have to steer the ship. There can only be one captain of a ship. But without the director of photography, the actors, the production designers, the producers, the costume designers, the people that drive the cars, the film stops, And so it's only the weakest cog in the machine that could slow it down. So is being a director more important than any other role? I don't think so. It is merely creating an atmosphere of community and family and being able to work together in this way and make the machine run. So I look at my job as someone that's like Charlie Chaplin in modern times, going around all the gears and just oiling everything and making sure that it moves smoothly.
Yeah, that's wonderful. To the producers, I mean, how do you look at the journey of this movie forward? Are you taking it to some other festivals and awards? Yeah, please.
Yeah, we are. Our goal right now is to show the film in as many film festivals as possible. I think what Rob's saying about showing something and getting to engage with an audience is really the whole point. So the goal is as many festivals and as many audiences will see it as possible.
You. Any other questions?
Sir, I have a question to ask
Please,
to
yeah.
both director and producer.
Yeah.
Sir, I have you have told that you are a professor at New York, in New York City. I just wanted to know how is the academic side of your experience helps in your creative process.
Yeah, how does the academic side of my experience help in my creative process? It helps quite a bit because uh I am beyond an admirer of cinema. I am a devout uh member of the Church of Cinema. It is the great romance of my life. And so I spend all of my time thinking about the great directors and their films and what makes them special, you know, Satyajit Ray, Fellini, Antonioni, Pasolini, Truffaut, Godard. Like all of my time is occupied when I'm not making a film, thinking about films, watching films. On the flight here from New York City, I watched 5 films. And so to be able to pontificate with a room of students in my class in New York is wonderful because you exchange in dialogue with people who are like-minded, who want to learn about cinema, who feel passionate about cinema, and so there's an energy exchange there. Um, and I could talk about films ad nauseum with them, but they too are a younger generation, and they are engaging with films in a different way than I do, and watching different films, and so I'm learning as much from them as they are from me, and it's inspiring for me when I'm talking about uh, how to work on your screenplay, how to become motivated and inspired, how to make your film, and how to uh, wield authorship and auteurism, and how to put your signature on something. I'm teaching it to a room of students, but at the same time, I'm telling it to myself. And so it's very affirming.
Robert, you just said you watched 5 films on the flight from New York to India. So, any Indian film? And like yesterday, we had a press conference of Michael Douglas. So, he said that he is very fond of like some films of Satyajit Ray, Pathar Panchali, and also Om Shanti Om. Have you seen any Indian Bollywood film which you like?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen many Bollywood films that I love. Um, on the plane over, I rewatched Patha Panchali, which is, of course, an amazing film. I also rewatched The Music Room, also an incredible film. I mean, the films of Ray, I would, put in the same category as the films of Kurosawa, um, and maybe Fellini is there too. And these three are sort of the Mount Rushmore. Um, but then contemporary Bollywood and Tamil cinema, and like RRR, for example, was like such a fun and incredible movie. And this is what's beautiful about cinema, is that it is truly international, and it doesn't really matter where a film is from, as long as an audience can watch it, engage with it, and have it resonate with them. That is truly international. And so that's a beautiful thing that brings people together. And at its best, that's what all art should do, is bring people together, be able to look at something objectively and feel something, right? Feel something in your heart. And this is why I love cinema. It's what resonates with me.
Yeah, if there are no more questions. Yeah. So only the 54th edition is about to conclude. I think your cinema just begins. Your film, The Featherweight, will carry on its journey. And thank you for being here. Wish you all the best for your uh, future endeavors as well. And congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you.
Thank
all.
you.